You are now listening to In the Trench.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of In the Trench. Wow, we just had probably, okay, so I say this every episode, like all the time also, but this was truly probably the most, like, just surreal episode I've had so far, other than maybe Jack Horner, which was another huge, like, guest that I had on. We have on today ABS Master Smith, Forged in Fire, All-Star Judge Jay Nielson. He came on the podcast, and I'm not even gonna ramble off too much. I just wanted to dedicate these last couple seconds to this. Thank you so much, Jay, for coming on the podcast. It was truly an honor for myself and Nicole to have you on. To everybody else, watch this podcast. If you have any questions, if you're a Forged in Fire fan and are wondering what happens behind the scenes or the contestants with some of the knives that are made, stay tuned and watch the episode. We cover all those questions here today. Thanks again, Jay, and I hope you guys enjoy this episode.
No, happy to do it. No,
I appreciate
absolutely.
it. When my girlfriend told me she got you on the podcast, I'm like, no way. Because when quarantine happened, what got me through quarantine was Forged in Fire. So I was like, that was fantastic.
Yeah. Forged in Fire was a kind of a pain in the butt during quarantine because we had to get tested every morning before we went on set. So you had the little swizzle up to your nose every morning. But at that same point in time, my wife, who was still alive at that point in time, they never tested her at all. She was a nurse for 35 years, not an issue, not a big deal. No, they let her get a workout all the time, but they would swizzle our nose every day. It's like, what the hell?
That's off. Yeah, no, quarantine was terrible. They used to do the same thing to me at work, and it was just super uncomfortable. I can't imagine, obviously, on a game show. And something that I used to like, I became absolutely addicted to Forged in Fire. If you ask her, whenever I open up Netflix, the only show that I put on, because I'm not really a movie guy, I like just having stuff on the TV. Well, I just put on Forged in Fire, and I'll just see every single episode, whether it be the Super Champ episode or just a regular old episode. And it just gets me so excited because I feel like I've seen enough episodes to the point where I could just go ahead and make a knife. Because like that's what it feels like.
And people do it all the time. It's like, I've seen enough episodes. I think I can make a knife. It's like, okay, bring it on. Let's see what you can do. And just horrible battered pieces of steel all over the place. But no, there's been some folks that really did come out of the blue and say, I think I can do this, and forged out a great blade. And it's like, wow, okay, maybe this isn't just a game show. Maybe this is actually an educational thing.
Oh, it's
People are
extremely
actually
educational.
learning. People are actually definitely learning what's going on.
Yeah, no, it's extremely educational. I mean, before I didn't even know there was so much art into knife making before I started watching Forged in Fire. I didn't know what Gomai was, what Sanmai was, I knew what Damascus was, but I didn't know the process and how to make Damascus and all those different types of Damascus. When I was watching you guys made an episode at the end, I believe, of season 8, where it was you, David and Ben, and you guys were all like on Zoom, and you guys gave each other each a challenge to do. Like, you had 2 weeks to do each challenge.
Oh, that was the Home Forge episode.
The Home Forge episode, yeah. And then Ben pulled out some the most insane Damascus thing I've ever seen in my life. Like this,
he pulled out some great Damascus. Yeah,
I think it was Turkish Damascus, wasn't it? If I'm not
yeah.
mistaken.
He actually did. He folded the tip over, so the pattern made it to the tip as opposed to being cut off.
Yeah, and then I also saw
very cool.
I saw your video on how to make Damascus. I was just like, okay, I feel like I could go get the right amount of materials and make the Damascus, which is my favorite type of metal. Which I guess is my first question to you: is what is your?
Trust me.
Yeah.
Trust me. Honestly, if I can do it, anybody can do it. I ain't a rocket scientist or anything like that. I mean,
yeah, but you're an ABS master.
It's not that hard to do. It's just a matter of being hard-headed and just going for it, basically, I guess.
I completely agree, and I do want to go for it soon. I feel like I can I want to try for sure. But you can't say you're not a rocket scientist. I mean, you're an ABS mastersmith. You've been doing this for how many years?
25 plus years.
And how many
Something
years
like
as a mastersmith?
Oh, I got my master's at 2008.
Wow. So you've been doing it for what, 12? 12 years, right? No, 14 years. That's crazy. That's
God, you just make me feel older and older.
no. It's so
I
like
want to see the sign behind you. What the heck is that?
it says in the trench.
Oh, nice. I
Our
like that.
podcast, yeah, it's our podcast with a couple of
Okay,
LED strips that we put up on it. Just to give us
that looks cool.
Appreciate that. So I guess my first question to you is, this is a really interesting question because I feel like, Forge and Fire isn't like your typical game show that it's multiple weeks. It's like every episode is its own individualized competition.
Mhm.
What in all the years that you've been judging it, has there ever been like a final weapon that's just left you like in awe of like how amazing it was?
Yes, there is definitely one. And it was the guy that I don't know if you saw the Beat the Judges
Yes, I did see that on Hulu.
episode.
Yep.
The guy that beat my ass, Bert Foster.
Wow.
Fantastic bladesmith. He was actually one of my judges when I took my mastersmith test. So he
Wow.
was one of the guys that judged me. But the first time he was on, he made a God, I can't remember, was it Shalata? It was a double-edged curved sword.
Yeah.
I think it was called a Shalata, but it was beautiful. It was like one of the most beautiful things I ever saw.
Wow.
And it went through all the cutting tests and strength tests without a hitch. I mean, that's a phenomenal piece of work there. And Bert's a fantastic knife maker. And again, I've said this multiple times. If I ever had to lose to anybody, more than happy to lose to Bert. More than happy to lose to Bert.
That's so exciting. No, and it's also insane that he did it in 4 days, right?
Oh, it's amazing.
That's so cool. And I understand that you guys do have like obviously like professionals. You have some mastersmiths come on the show, but you also have like people that are like part-time bladesmiths that just kind of do it as a hobby, like show up on the show. Has there been any of those that have like let you like, wow, like this person I thought was an amateur, but they made an amazing blade?
Well, it's kind of funny because when the show was starting out, we get kids, 18, 20 years old, and like, I was like, what are they going to do? They don't know anything. And they would pull amazing stuff out of their butts. Not literally, obviously, but they would just come out with stuff. And there was a couple times I was like, oh, that's never going to work. That's not going to happen. And they did it. And I was like, whoa, okay, maybe I need to start rethinking a couple things and try a couple new things in my shop. Because when I started making knives, there was no internet. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have, all these, information highways kind of things. So now the kids that are coming along have so much knowledge. And now it's anytime I see, a young person come on the show, it's like, okay, now I want to see what they do now, because now I know these guys have got information. They've been playing this stuff. I want to see what they got. So it's a total turnaround for me.
That's so funny. And I see how you said like you see people like trying things like, oh, it's not gonna work. What's like the number one thing that most people mess up with when they're on the show?
Oh, canisters.
Canister Damascus.
Oh yeah. And it's probably part of the reason it's my fault, because that's kind of one of the things I'm known for.
Yeah.
So, people try to do canisters and they'll like, well, I'm gonna impress Jay Nielson. No, you're not. You're probably gonna screw it up. We got people, like heating stuff over the forge, trying to dry the white out, burning it out, and then that doesn't do any good anyway, and stuff like that. One of the biggest things is having a little bit of patience. And patience is a hard thing to come by when you got that big red clock
Yep.
over your head and you got Will or Grady, yelling at you, and you got the judges staring at you. So yeah, patience is a hard thing to come by. And I ran into the same thing too when I was on the floor.
I saw it. The clock is really something that changes the whole game. Would you recommend for a time competition when doing canister to just leave it in the canister and grind it off later, or do you think it's easier to just do the white out the proper way and then get it out?
No, I definitely leave the can on.
Leave the can on.
There is only certain challenges we say you have to remove the can.
Yeah.
Most of the time, if we give contestants a canister challenge, we don't tell them to remove the can. So we leave that up to them, and then that's their own mind screw up.
Yeah, I
whether
feel
they
like
want to or not.
I feel like they
it's
mess up a lot trying to
just leave
impress.
the can on, just run
Yeah.
with it.
That's what I'm always yelling at the TV screen, saying just leave it on. You'll grind it off later. Just get a nice blade in, or else.
Yeah,
I always,
but people get that idea in their head. I gotta remove the can. I gotta remove the can.
Yeah.
Like, no, you don't have to. If we didn't ask you to, don't do it.
If anybody's watching this and about to go on that show, these are the tips you need. No, that's fantastic. Yeah, no, I always yell at my screen and I say that. And it's just like, I think the most important thing is obviously just get the blade done. You have a certain amount of time, and something I find interesting is because I know the show obviously has to be cut down a lot to be put into like I think it's a 45-minute runtime if I'm not wrong. How much is really cut out like of that show? Because when I see the judging, it's like a 2-second judge per knife. I'm sure it's a lot longer.
Well, it's just like watching Chopped or something like that.
Yeah.
They say 2 minutes left and people are still got stuff in the fryer and stuff like that. It's the same thing with our show, which actually Forge and Fire was the brainchild of the guy that made Chopped.
Wow.
Which is one of the reasons that got me involved in it, because I enjoyed watching Chopped. Me and my wife watched Chopped all the time. And they were like, oh, well, this is the same guy. I was like, okay, now I'm into it. Okay, let's talk about this. So that's when we went to Seattle and did the pilot for it. But no, we don't cut time out.
No, not time of the. No, I'm sorry for misspeaking. What I meant was like from the judging part of it, for the judging portion of it. Like when you guys are going over each knife, like it's usually like a sentence per judge per knife. I was wondering how much is really cut out of the actual judging when you guys are eliminating contestants.
Oh no, they it's usually pretty much most of it, of what we say and stuff like that. That's actually when we actually get to speak our minds, stuff like that. Because during the whole, when they're forging and stuff like that,
yeah,
I mean, you got to figure they're cutting. We're doing like 4 days and we're cutting into about 52 minutes.
Yeah.
So, a lot of that gets cut out. But, when we're doing the critiquing of the knives and stuff like that, that's usually pretty much all there.
Wait, that's interesting that you said that. You said you guys are filming over a course of 4 days. Do you mean like, is the actual, like, what is a 3-hour competition? Do you guys film that the 3 hours in one go, or is it like separate?
Well, what we normally do is we'll do the first day is 3-hour forging.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we temper the blades, which one of me or one of the other guys, who's a master smith, takes care of the tempering, because nobody wants to sit there. Some of these blades take 6 hours plus to temper.
Yeah.
So the next day, then they get their tempered blades back, and then they do the handle round, and then the next day is when we beat the living hell out of them.
Yeah.
And do the testing.
That's so
and
cool.
Then after that, then we take the last 2 guys and we send them home to make something else we can beat the living hell out of.
Yeah, and they after their 4 days at home. No, that's so interesting. Do you guys make them wear the same clothes then? It's every single day that they come back to make it look like it's one continuous day, or am I just imagining that?
No, that's what they do, and I'm not involved in that part.
So. No, that's so. in my head it was like, oh, 3 hours, boom, next thing, go
Well,
do the testing.
it's a TV
Of
thing. I
course,
mean,
no, I know.
it's supposed to look like everything's happening the same day or something like
That's
that.
so
But
cool. And so I'm assuming since it's day by day, like, what are you doing throughout those 3 hours? Are you just sitting there just watching them forge for 3 hours, or do you guys gonna get up and
yep,
go get lunch? Yeah, you're
nope,
saying,
no. We basically sit there and watch them, and yes, it
and
gets kind of old after a while. And a lot of times it's like, don't do that. Don't stop. Freak, he's gonna do it anyway. Oh, maybe it worked, maybe it didn't. I don't know. But yeah, it's just yeah.
that's so funny. I'm always yelling at the
It's
TV because they're quenching their blades too hot. That's one thing I always notice that to look out for.
all the time. Like,
Yeah.
it's one of the craziest things for us because we are sitting up there even when we're not sitting on our chairs. If we're off camera and we're just watching, and we just want to run down there like, no, don't do that. Take that away from you. But you can't do that.
That's so
But
funny,
yeah,
man.
but you
And
want
that's
to. You want to run down. It's like, no, I want to take this away from you. I'm going to show you how to do it. But no, can't do it.
America's the same way. We're all
gets
yelling at our screens. That's so funny.
it gets a little crazy.
Who is your favorite judge on the show to shoot the shit with? It's like just talk shit.
Well, that would have been Will. Grady's right up there. Grady's hilarious. Dave Baker is just, we have way too many fun conversations.
I can see it.
And Doug Marcada, Doug just wants to do all this stuff. And I've actually had Doug in my shop before.
Yeah.
And I actually had him hammering out blades and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, you think so? Go do it. Don't keep talking, do it.
That's so funny. You got to tell Grady to pronounce Doug's kill test keel test. I love it when it's
Oh,
K.
yeah.
he says it to kill, and I'm like, Grady, come on, it's keel. Because when on Netflix's subtitles, they know Doug so well they'll always put keel, Keal. And it's the best thing ever.
That's funny. Well, Grady's getting used to it. He's getting good at it.
He's
actually
doing great.
Grady's actually doing a really good job.
No, he's been a fantastic addition. I mean, I miss Will. We saw Will obviously the first 7 seasons, but Grady's been fantastic. That's the number one thing that I told my girlfriend Nicole, who you obviously have spoken to, and I'll bring her onto the show a little bit later so you can.
And I love the fact that I can just mess with Grady anytime I want.
Oh,
I'm right next to him. I can just like.
He's easy to prank.
Just poke him. Just give him a little poke every once in a while. Grady's a good dude.
What I was gonna say here, I have a list of questions here that I just wanted to get through is, what do you think has been the coolest weapon you've seen made on Forge and Fire? You guys have made some pretty
okay. I finally remembered because we were talking about this before.
Awesome.
Bert Foster, the Chotel. That was the coolest finale weapon I ever saw because it was full Damascus. It was a double-edged hooked sword. It was one of the
coolest one you've seen.
That was one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
That is so cool. That's such an honor to get it from someone like that.
And the fact that you got to figure before Forge and Fire, nobody would give me a finished weapon and say, "Hey Jay, can you beat the living hell out of this for me?" Now people, aside from the show, people randomly send me weapons and say, "Can you just beat the living hell out of this for me?"
And film it and send it back.
So, yeah, exactly. So the fact that I get to take something from the guy who judged me in my Mastersmith test
and beat the shit out of it,
and I get to take his piece of work, beautiful piece of work, and beat the Tara. It's just like, okay, now I feel complete.
That is so cool. And obviously you're known as the guy to just destroy blades. You're the Grim Reaper of blades on that show.
Well, I used to don't actually enjoy that. I mean, I've had so many people tell me I'm like the Simon Cowell of knife making. But I don't like breaking people's knives. I mean, if they
Yeah.
break, they break. It's
Yeah,
not
of
my
course.
fault. But I'm not going to hold back at the same time. So
No, of course. And it's the coolest part, seeing you and all these, seeing the face of the contestants, like when they see you grab their knife, and you're always like, "Are you ready?" And they're like, "No, I'm not ready." But
I I have I have never expected in my life to make grown men cry, but I've done it.
you've done it quite a bit. I feel like I've seen a couple episodes where they do that.
Yeah, there's been a few that are kind of like broken down a little bit, and but I understand you put so much work into that.
Yeah.
I mean, even for the short amount of time we give them for the contest, they put their heart and soul. I mean, they do. They're busting their asses.
Yeah, I
So
see
yeah,
that.
I mean, if the knife breaks, the handle breaks, something like that. I mean, it's not a goal for me. It's just it happens, and I feel for them because I wouldn't want the same thing happening to me either.
Yeah.
But you give me something, I'm not going to hold back. I'm going to break the damn thing if I
Yeah,
can.
exactly. That's what people want to see, right? At the end of the day,
Mhm.
yeah, it sucks, but it gets people's attention when you see, oh damn, a knife just snapped. But
Yeah.
a fun game that I play with my girlfriend is that we'll pick the winner from the first time we see all four people. We make a bet on who we think is going to make it throughout the show, and it's
Oh yeah,
never,
you're not the first people to do that. I hear that all the time.
we never get it right, or it's very far and few between. I'll see the guy, oh, I've been a smith maker for 40 years, and I'm like, oh, that guy's got it in the bag, and he doesn't make it past the first round. I'm like, fuck, like,
Yep.
it completely ruins it. But what's the deal with the mosaic pins? I've never heard that before, and I see the contestants have such a trouble with the mosaic pins.
Oh, it's just basically it's just a time challenge kind of thing. I'm not a fan of mosaic pins myself.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to make my own. It's basically just taking a hollow tube and just filling it with other pin stock and epoxy, and getting it
Like a shape.
adhered together. But the problem is you're in that time constraint thing again. So it's like, okay, I gotta jam all this stuff together, get epoxy in it, get a set. Hopefully, I grind it together and it won't fall apart. And yeah, usually it goes to crap. So
Yeah, I won't forget the. I don't know if you remember this. It's for you. It's probably hundreds of episodes back, but I think it was season 7 or season 8, where you guys needed a medal in the middle of the handle, and one of the contestants just put a big pin, and you guys are like, "This isn't a medal. It's a big pin," and then he wasn't able to get his knife tested because it didn't meet parameters, obviously. So I was wondering, just like, what would constitute a medal to make it, because it was a big pin. So like, what would constitute that medal? Just
well, okay, it's not the same thing, but what this reminds me of is one time we had the lawnmowers, and you had to make blades out of lawnmowers.
Yep.
And this one kid, I'm saying kid because I got gray hair, he doesn't, so I can call him a kid.
okay.
Basically, he just pulled the lawnmower blade out, threw it in the forge, flattened it, and then ground the blade out of it. And I was like, no, no, you're not getting away with that. This is forge and fire. This is not ground and fire.
Yeah.
No, you can't just grind a blade out. Yeah, I mean, and we've had a few different kind of like guys try to cheat a
Cheat the
couple little
system.
things and stuff like that, but no, we ain't letting that slide. Nope.
Awesome. That's why the show does so well, because you guys keep it strict to the guns. That's what's so exciting to
Well,
see.
I mean, that's one of the people. One of the reasons, like I said, the Simon Cowell knife making thing. I get that a lot.
Yeah.
But I'm not trying to be a dick or anything like that. I'm just, this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to judge your knives. I'm supposed to, tell you what you're doing right or wrong. And, that's the way it is. If you don't
Yeah.
like it, tough shit.
Leave the show.
Mm.
Exactly. No, that's awesome. And I guess another question, since you're the one who does all the strength tests, right? That's your thing. I've seen you get a couple injuries. I saw you've like nicked your knuckle before and had like a ligament problem before. But what's like the worst injury you've had on that show?
Well, I've gone to the ER a couple times.
Oh my God.
No, there hasn't been that many like actually on camera injuries, because normally we do a lot of this testing beforehand. I've made blades in my own shop in the same time constraints, and we've used those to pre-test stuff beforehand.
Oh wow.
So I mean, we're not going into this stuff blind. I mean, I would not be involved in the show if I couldn't do it. If we gave somebody a challenge, I couldn't do it, I wouldn't expect anybody else to do it either.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've done all these tests. I've done all these things before. So I mean, like I said, if I can do it, you guys can do it. But on occasion, something will explode in your hand. And I've had one time I had a sword blade bounce off my neck. I had another one, sword bounced off and like basically stabbed me in the hand. But
I think I saw that episode.
I've been very fortunate. I haven't had any serious injuries.
Good. No, that's good to hear. You guys take all those precautions. Yeah, knock on wood. I got you. I got you, Jay. I got you right here. Um,
And I know it's coming. That's
no,
why they start after that sword blade bounced off my neck. That's why they start putting me in armor.
no, I see, and I see all the different protective gear you guys do. When you guys do the finale weapon, the big finale weapon, and let's say both go through the test, fantastic. And you guys then at that point determine whether it's on craftsmanship or if one took a smaller nick than the other. What do you? Because I know when you guys do the tests in house for the first couple rounds, obviously you guys keep the knives because that's the medal that you gave the contestants. Now, when the contestants are bringing both of their weapons, you guys keep both master weapons, or do you only keep the one that won?
We keep the winner.
So the person, the loser, could take his back.
Yes.
Okay.
After the episode airs, that contestant can get their weapon back, and we started that because early on we kept everything.
Yeah.
But it was at this point like, come on, these people are putting so much hard work into this. At least let them have their weapon back, where they can fix it, repair it, resell it, do whatever the hell they want with it.
Yeah.
That's fine. But yeah, after I think it was like season 4, I think we started doing that.
Nice.
So yeah, so
That's
the runner-up could get their weapon back, but yeah, no, the guy who wins, the person who wins,
Hey, you guys
no,
are paying
we
$10,000
give
for
him
that.
10 grand. We give him 10 grand.
You guys paid 10 grand for that weapon. Why would you give that back?
We're keeping that.
I just love how it's a knife making show at its core, but then you guys end up making like spears, swords. I saw, what was that? You guys made one that was like for an elephant, like leg.
Oh yeah, the elephant tusk one. Yeah,
The
that was a
elephant
great
tusk.
one. Oh, that was one of my favorites. That was so cool.
It's
And
so
we had the slingshot, like crossbow.
yes, I remember the cross. When you guys pull out the crossbow, I'm like, what if the person doesn't know how to make a crossbow? Like,
I swear, I seriously had a nightmare one time where I was like, had to make a crossbow on the show out of a sheet of 2x4, and it's like, how am I gonna do this? But I woke up and I'm like, I really need to stop doing the show. I need to stop because this is getting addictive.
Do you guys send the final 2 contestants like some sort of blueprint on how to make the weapon, or like figure it out on your own?
Oh no. You figure it out on your own.
Even the crossbow?
Oh no. Yeah, you can, you don't even have your phone on the show. You can, when you get back on the plane to go back home, then you can start looking up, how the hell do I make this thing?
That's wild. And when the two contestants were back at home forging, because it looks like a obviously really well produced. Do you guys send people out to film them?
Oh yeah,
Okay, yeah, because I was
yeah.
wondering.
There's a cameraman, a producer, or a camera person, a producer, or whatever. But yeah, there's somebody, but they're being watched the entire time,
That's
and there's no iffy skippy going on. It's like no, you can if you're a contestant and your shop really sucks. Sorry again, you can actually use somebody else's shop, but you have to do everything there.
yeah,
And wherever you start making your finale weapon, you have to finish it there.
yeah.
So I mean, there was no back and forth juggling or anything like that. So yeah, so there's there's a producer and there's a camera person, and yeah, they're on top of stuff, and they are like, I mean, you think bouncers at a club are bad? No, these dudes are worse. I mean, they will cut you down.
That's crazy. No, that's so cool seeing how.
Well, again, it's game show rules. So
Yeah. Well, I think for the final question, it's only fair that I bring my girlfriend on because she's been the one orchestrating this whole meeting between both of us, and she's my second in command when it comes to the podcast.
she's probably first in command, and you're just
Honestly, I'm just
on.
the poster boy. She does everything else. She's camera shy. That's the problem. Get in. Ask him what's the favorite thing he's forged.
Okay.
Oh, there she is.
She watches the
I
show
remember
with
that.
every
I
episode.
saw
with
that
me.
face.
Hi, Jay.
Hi, how you
It's
doing?
so nice to meet you. Thank you so much for coming on.
Absolutely happy to do it.
Okay, so our last question is, what is
Your most favorite thing.
your most favorite thing you've ever forged?
Oh God. Geez, what? Why can't you give me an easy one?
Okay,
Seriously?
what's your middle name?
No.
Okay, all right. One of
How do
the
you spell your first name?
craziest, one of the craziest ones I ever made was a toast cutter, which was literally a U-shaped Damascus blade, with it was micarta, Damascus, walrus tusk. Basically, it was a guy who had way too many knives, and his wife was giving him hell. And she was like, "Before you buy another knife, I want something that's going to cut the toast off bread." And we're all like, "What?" So I made a 3-part Damascus knife. It's on the website. It's horrible.
Oh, no, I'm looking
It's
it up
terrible.
after this.
It was kind of cool, but it was a pain in the butt to make. So you could just like nip off all 3 edges of the bread, and then just nip off the last one.
Wow.
So you get 3 things. One,
no crust.
and I didn't even win that contest. So, but one of my absolute favorites we actually had on the show was it was actually the European dagger that I made for my Mastersmith test.
Wow.
That I passed, fortunately, first time. But it was actually on the show, and we had to rent it away from the guy I sold it to, so we could air it on the show. Because he was like, "Hell no, I'm not giving that up." I'm like, come on, we're gonna rent. We'll pay you to get this dagger on the show. And he was like, "Oh, okay, fine."
Dude, I'd have given it back in a second if it's getting on that show.
Yeah, well, no, we had to pay his, but but yeah, it was kind of crazy stuff.
No, I can't wait to look
It
up
was
those 2
fun.
names. That's
Yeah,
so exciting.
that toast cutter one. Oh, thank
I
God.
can't wait for that.
Oh, I want it.
I want to see it.
Oh my God. Yeah, I'm gonna get grief after this podcast for that, I'm sure.
Hopefully. Well, I
But it
gotta
was
say,
good talking to you guys.
It
was
was
a
so
pleasure
nice to
for
meet
us,
you.
Jay.
Thank you so much, Jay.
Hey, happy to do it.
appreciate it so much. Well, hopefully, if we ever have you on in the future, it'll be a lot easier than it was this time.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm bad with I'm sorry.
No,
I mean,
don't be sorry
You
at all.
gotta
It was-
understand. I make my living with a hammer and an anvil. So
Hey,
how much
completely
can you expect out of me?
completely understood. I'll make sure to send you any pictures of any knife I end up forging and how ugly it turns out to be. You can critique it
Please
all
do,
you want.
please. I'm always more than happy. I do it on a daily basis. You know, looking at people's knives.
Spotting
Helping,
D-lambs.
answering questions, yada yada. Yeah, that's part of the deal.
Yep.